All right, and we are back with round three here.
Yeah, and we're back with the Mean Green Machine. Is it the Mean Green Front Machine? They're Remy Fatier and Louis Bassieur. It sounds sort of French, so it might be Francophone folks decided to test together. But versus something we haven't quite seen, a banned Planeswalker deck. We have 14 Planeswalkers here from Wordwood. We have Kyora, the Crashing Wave, Karn, Sign of Ursa, Teferi, of course. We have the full four sets of those. And then rounding out the Planeswalker suite here, we have two Gideon Jura. To help us get to those Planeswalkers, there's four Wall of Omens, four Overgrown Battlement, four Coast of Krufix, two Spheres of the Suns. We see one deployed right now. We have two Oath of Teferi just to get our maximum Planeswalking. Oath of Teferi lets us blink a permanent when it's the battlefield, and then we may activate loyalty abilities of planeswalkers we control twice each turn rather than only once. Sorceries, we have the set of Oust buying us a bit of time, and then Sweepers to Cleansing Nova, allowing us to destroy all creatures.
Cleansing
So
Nova could be a very impactful card here in this matchup, given the way that the
it's
green deck
definitely
likes to go wide.
it's definitely not something Remier is looking forward to, and it's the old philosophy from back when Rise of Eldrazi wasn't standard. That was when I started playing Magic. So I remember this stand format very well, where you sort of counted Gideon, Jura, and back then was Day of Judgment as sort of similar cards. They're your anti-creature cards, your anti-go wide cards,
We've seen this
and you
green
just need to
deck
be there.
just deploying all of its threats to the board in the last couple of matches. We'll see if there's any change in strategy here now that we're going up against sweepers and planeswalkers. Planeswalkers pressuring you to add to the board, but the sweepers obviously punishing that play line.
Yeah, it's a beautiful philosophy because if Remy just plays a few non-impactful creatures, then Planeswalkers will run over. But now we see Vivian Reed doing double duty. Like the sweeper now, there's still Vivian Reed on the other side of the board.
Yep.
And what Drew doesn't do very well here is pressure Planeswalkers. So this Vivian Reed will need to have something happen.
Kiora coming down and fogging that Steel Leaf Champion.
Yeah, I remember. I think we called it bubble it, because you put it in a bubble and it's just over there doing the thing. But girl,
You hold
like this is
still.
this was just this is just a 4 mana fog because Dragon's Three Speak and Elvis Clan can just attack Kiara and then she's gone.
Yep, and Vivian continues to tick up. The Planeswalker deck getting a taste of its own medicine here.
Yeah. Oh, and Vengevine just rude. Oh, you're finding an Elvish Clan caller because that will put Dragon's Three Speakers to three and then still be able to kill Kiara. Oh, I am wondering what the plan is here,
Well,
but I'm loving it.
Remy down to
Um,
one card in hand, so if we are able to clean up some of these creatures, it does at least give you an avenue to start pressuring that Vivian with something like a
yeah,
Gideon.
we
And
see
there it
Cleansing
is.
Noble
There's the
here,
sweeper.
and we can still answer Vivian because Teferi can just do everything we want to. Uh, but bear in mind, there is Vengevine in hand for Remy. That's his last card in hand. And then he
Vengevine
scroll for
notably
turn.
pretty good at
Uh,
attacking opposing planeswalkers.
yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking at Drew's sideboard plan, and I see one of my favorite cards because it's just so well. It is perplexing. It is perplexing Chimera out of Born of the Gods, and that's a card I'm sure you have memorized, right, Stuart?
Yeah, yeah. Um, Perplexing Chimera.
You know the constructed All Star.
Of course, I
No,
know what it is, but if why don't you just tell the viewers?
of course. The way my introduction to this card was from a format called Judge's Tower, and the rules of Judge's Tower is every game action you can take, you must take. and then you just have a stack of cards, and they make the game very, very complicated. Where it's like you have to, if you draw an instant speed miracle, you have to have your miracle trigger, and then you must cast your card in response to the miracle trigger. Very confusing. Perplexing Chimera will make that game even worse because it says whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may exchange control of Perplexing Chimera and that spell. If you do, you may choose new targets for the spell. So if Wordwood plays Perplexing Chimera and then Remy plays a Vivian, then Wordwood will get the Vivian, and Remy will get the Perplexing Chimera. It won't have haste, and it cannot attack, and then you just untap and kill it with Vivian.
I'm just going to
Do
have
you
to
get that?
see that happen.
Yes,
I
I
think that's
hope
the
we
only
see
way I
that
will
happen.
fully understand what everything you just said. But um, I do hope that we get a chance to see that go on.
Yeah,
Green continuing its stampede here, pushing through a single cleansing nova, uh, thanks in part to Vivian, which is proving to be um, one of the strongest cards that we're seeing in this event today.
yeah, Vivian. I think it's the Vivian Vengevine package that's actually turning out to be really strong.
Mhm. Well, and we
Because
talked about Cabal therapy, and in a format where everyone's trying to trade down on resources, and you end up in a lot of situations where people are playing off the top of the deck. Vivian is a card that handles that scenario very well.
yes, in a ball stall, I'll just give me a Vivian.
Yeah.
I'll get there. So from group, we see some different cards. We see Narcolepsy, which is a bit of double-edged sword because it's one of your ways to like get rid of a creature for good. And it's also a way to get rid of Vengevine without putting it into the graveyard. Um, so that might be something, but Vivian can destroy it. So it's a bit there's some it's a bit double-edged sword.
Yeah, yeah.
But we see another two cleansing Nova, and they are for sure coming in.
I would expect to see those, certainly.
Yeah. And when we see a single in Bolus's clutches, it can be an answer for Vivian. So I imagine actually that coming in. Um, I could definitely see that coming in.
Yeah.
A Lyra Dawnbringer, I can see that.
Lyra
Uh,
plays fairly
sort of,
well against the green deck's creatures, short of multiple Eldritch
yeah.
Clan Callers or a Colony Hydra.
Well, there's nothing that has reach. So it's a way to pressure.
Although
Vivian can
again,
destroy it.
Vivian does take out Lyra
Yeah.
pretty effectively.
So I imagine we actually won't see Lyra because I think you're losing badly to Vivian anyways. No need to make yourself worse.
It it does seem like Vivian is a card we keep coming back to, and that these matchups keep revolving around.
Yeah, definitely. I was hoping this band deck. It's a very interesting take of just sort of Super Friends deck, and so I was hoping it could actually be a bit more, provide a bit more punch against the green deck. But the green deck is so fast, and this Super Friends deck is taking considerable amount of time to get itself set up.
Well, we will see if game two in a slightly different draw will give us a different result. One thing that you alluded to when we were talking about narcomoeba or narcolepsy in this format is how much of the removal in this format is sorcery speed. You have oust. Um, you have things like seal away that work at instant speed, but only on tapped creatures. Uh, and out of these Bant decks, yeah, if you're forced to resort to things like narcolepsy, it gives cards like Vengevine a chance to really show their power because you don't have a
Yeah,
chance to interact with it.
there's no Patrick style, Sorcerer Plowshare style card. You have Seal Away. Drew here, Wordwood has opted not to play Seal Away, um, relying only on the 4 Oust, which is like the more powerful option, so I get that. Um, but for instant speed removal, if you're not in black or red, then no, there's nothing in terms of efficient instant speed removal.
Yeah, now black does have some options there, but um,
Yeah, there's go for the throat, cast down, whole. Oh, reclamation stage is just here to ruin. Word would stay. Goodbye, Strength of the Suns.
You will not be ramping today, sir.
No, there's still overgrown battlement. But like,
Now,
do you cleansing Nova here?
well, I hope that I'm Teferiing here.
Well, what will Teferi do? Oath of Teferi. Interesting. Oh, getting another scry.
Sure.
I mean, sure. Ouch. 8 incoming.
Now Teferi has a chance to be impactful, though.
Yeah, because now you can tuck the steel leaf and then draw some. Oh, this is just rude. Now you
Now we need the
really want to see
Nova.
Now it's time. Well, have I got news for you?
Teferi cycles.
I think we just die. Ogre and Batman cannot block Steel Leaf Champion, then we block the Reclamation Stage, and then that's 8.
Do we have any root mazes?
We do have 2 copies of Prismatic Strands. Prevent all damage that sources of the color of your choice would deal this turn. For 2 and a white.
That is on the table here.
I mean, yes, it is on the table. Can Remy play around it? No, we can just shove everything into the face of Wordward and just hope for the best.
Yep.
And then there's obviously also next turn where Wordward will face a
Well,
similar
that is the problem with fogs.
Okay.
Do we have another turn? We're paying costs. There it is, prismatic strands.
We're still playing Magic.
Will this buy enough time for the Planeswalker deck to start accruing value?
I imagine it will, because now you have the player of you can tuck the Steel Leaf Champion and maybe play a Karn and make a construct.
Yeah, you'll need some kind of follow-up to not lose your Teferi here immediately, but
yeah.
Still
There's
2
also
cards in
options to
hand.
play.
And any white creature also does allow you to flash back that prismatic stance, right?
Yeah, we're not overwhelming or overthrowing with white creatures. Main deck, there's 4 Wall Vermins, that's it. And then we did talk about Liar Downbringer. There's also an option for Primas, Remorseful Cleric, and an Arcadis as a way to.
If we can just draw an additional planar cleansing, then that'll also do the trick. So there's a lot of ways for Wordwood to recover here. And yep, that is what you need to flash back that prismatic strand.
And these Ogre Unboundments are about to produce so much mana. And we do see Lyra.
Yep.
Okay. I imagine Remy isn't even that interested in attacking right now.
Prismatic Strand, one of the hidden gems of the format. We've seen it out of this Bant deck, and I've also seen some of the black-white aggressive strategies playing it just to create profitable alpha strikes and protect your creatures in ways that are asymmetrical.
Yeah, it's actually a really powerful card. Giving it flashback, it just feels so disheartening because you know it's there. What can you do about it? Nothing. You can just look at it and just be like, well, I'm effed.
If you've ever played against Moments Peace, you kind of know how that feels. And Prismatic Strands does a pretty good Moments Peace impression.
Yes.
Certainly in this format where so many of the decks are one color.
Yeah, and the thing where my creatures can still deal damage, so I can just make combat absolutely hell for you. It's a bit like when you're playing Monopoly and it's just like, go to jail, do not pass go, do not collect $200, see ya.
Hmm. Remy taking his time to decide what his next move will be here.
I mean, I think Remy is partly deliberating a lot of different moves, a lot of different options. They have 4 mana available, and they're just sitting here. How do I only have 2 lands? Oh, there's the third land. So we might see Vivian. There's no Vivian to take care of the Lyra.
Well, time to start building.
Yes. Is there another clan caller? If there is another clan caller, then Steely's champion can attack sort of profitably.
Or if there's an aspect of the Hydra.
Or if there's an aspect of Hydra, but then it's countered, sort of countered by Prismatic Strands. So I think Wordwood will just block here, and then whatever happens, happens. Yeah, now, well, Prismatic Stand. Prevent the green stuff.
Although we do have to see Wordwood is going to have to find a way to deal with this clan caller. Otherwise, that Steel Leaf champion will just get out of hand.
Yeah, but Teferi is close to ulting, and I imagine they must have found something by now.
This attack
Lyra's
signaling
attacking.
that
So
something powerful is going on.
I imagine we will see some
Either a sweeper
Nover.
or another prismatic strands. What are we doing?
Gideon
Palaka.
or Nover. Yeah.
And a Sphere of the Suns, why not?
Just because.
It's not doing anything in my hand.
Yeah. Pass the turn. Teferi versus 3 lands.
Once these planeswalkers really get rolling, it does get very difficult to recover from.
Yeah, and folks, that's certainly how you beat the green deck.
Find a way to stabilize. Prismatic Strands doing the trick here.
2 fogs was all it took, and then
all we needed was 2 fogs and one of the best planeswalkers ever made.
And a sweeper.
Or 2.
Yes.
Let's see.
The whole thing about ousting this Lanwells, of course, it's annoying that it's not there, that it's gone, that we probably won't be able to play Vengevine next turn. But in 2 turns, you have to draw it again and just play it again, and it's just like.
Well, and at that point, the Teferi it guarantees that the Teferi ultimates, right? So
yeah.
You would oust anything in that situation,
yes.
And it doesn't matter if they draw it again or not.
Yeah, I agree. But it's much the nature of oust itself. It's this feeling of hopelessness that you also get from Prismatic Strands, where it's just like, I have to draw my land royals on turn 3 or turn 5 or whenever.
Yeah, one of the things about oust is you really don't mind ousting a creature that you wouldn't want to spend a go for the throat on, because it does cost them that draw step down the line.
Exactly. It's just, not only do you remove a creature, but you also make one of the next draw steps being worse off curve. Of course, if it's some huge bomb that they're happy to play either way, then of course it doesn't feel as great ousting it. But these, especially land royals, where if you oust it turn 1 and then I guess I'll play it turn 3.
Players taking their time to sideboard here as they move into game 3. Do you think there's any adjustments that either player might want to make based on being on the play or on the draw?
I was about to say, I really respect players taking their time to at least reconsider. I'm not sure. It depends on how they sideboard initially. how it would look like. I'm looking at Remy's sideboard, what they have available, what he has available. And I have a hard time seeing it. Maybe they took in another Karn and a Thrun to just get these sort of heavy hitters that are threats in and of themselves. Another Vivian as well. And I could imagine they would shave like Druid of the Cowl. But then again, on the play, they might want maximum speed, maximum attack, and then just make where it would have the sweeper. One of the lessons that took a long time for me to learn in Magic is playing to win instead of playing to not lose. Where sometimes you have to take some calculated risks. And then sometimes you end up after a match saying, well, I took a calculated risk. Boy, am I bad at math. And Wordwood employing my favorite Magic the Gathering opening here, Temple of Enlightenment, Scry, go.
And there's that oust we were talking about, taking care
Yeah,
of the Vengevine for a little while.
for a little while. That's where it doesn't feel amazing, right? Now this Vivian and
Now,
immediately recurring the Vengevine.
this is the problem that we saw in game one, and we'll see if there's a way after sideboard for Wordwood to deal with it. You did say in Bolas's clutches a possibility to come in and handle that Vivian without having to deal with the ugly reality of a combat step in a Bant Planeswalker deck.
Yeah. Wordwood choosing to bubble Druid of the Cowl. And it's a bit awkward because Vengevine, hasty, greeny threat that will come down and ruin someone's day here. And maybe there's an argument that you were better off just drawing your card and putting your land into play and getting on with it, throwing Kiora onto the green bus. Yeah, but then Wall of Omens block here.
See Kiora do an Explorer impression here, or perhaps bubble that Vengevine.
It depends on what Wordwood has in hand.
Yep.
I imagine what they really want to do right now is play
If
a
we
land.
could Teferi tuck the Vivian Reed and then bubble the Vengevine, then we're pretty happy with that, right?
Yeah, we would live with that.
But if we can Cleansing Nova, even better. There's the Teferi.
So we're Teferiing now.
So
I mentioned there's a prismatic stance. I cannot imagine that there's not a prismatic stance.
yeah,
Okay, that's not a prismatic stance, but
that does work. That also
yeah,
protects your Teferi even better than the bubble.
Does it though?
Wow, because Vivian will pick that Vengevine right back up.
Yeah.
Mm.
But then you still have one of your planeswalkers after this turn.
But
I imagine
not necessarily the one you would have hoped for.
I imagine you'll be left with a Kiora on one instead of a Teferi on one.
Wordwood really needing this Teferi to be able to tuck Vivian next turn or to have some other answer.
What I would love to see here is in Bolas's clutches Vivian, ultimate Vivian, and then like whatever, we'll figure it out from there. There are still creatures in this deck.
Teferi bites the dust. We could also see a backup Teferi come out here. That's another way to handle the Vivian.
Yeah, we could see that.
Not how you want to spend your Teferis necessarily.
No, but and I imagine that if that is what we would have done, then we would have seen Teferi tuck Vivian, the first Teferi tuck
True.
Vivian.
Well, if Vivian gets to make all the creatures indestructible, it's tough to see a path out of this for Wordwood, but we'll
I
see
agree.
what happens here.
I'm trying to go with their deck list. I think the best hope is to have the backup Teferi and get rid of this Vivian before the emblem comes down. Okay.
And it might be just that.
It is just that.
So we're trading our Teferi for a little bit more time here, but you know, when you're the control deck, you got to do what you got to do.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Oh no, that's rough. We lose both our planeswalkers now. I have a hard time imagining that Remy doesn't have two to three creatures in their hand right now. Two creatures. I imagine there's two creatures in their hand, so in
And a
case
Vivian on top of the deck, so
well, it's not on top yet.
sorry, Oust is the one that puts it just one below. Teferi puts it a couple down.
Yeah, three down. I mean, this is all well and good, but I imagine that we will see two creatures now.
We may see this Vengevine coming right back.
Yeah. And where would really need something that accrues a sizable card advantage.
Yeah, down to just 2 cards in hand against Vengevine and an upcoming Vivian.
Yeah, it's
2
we're back
Teferis
at
already dealt with.
yeah, we're back at just delaying the inevitable, honestly.
And Thrun, pretty powerful in this
Yeah.
this situation, especially when it brings a Vengevine along with it.
You need another sweeper right now.
And a follow-up after that in the next turn.
Yeah, because I can guarantee you this Thrun will have regeneration mana for the rest of the game. Rimas is interesting. It seems like that Warford really went in on the creature package here. Because I imagine that if both Lyra and Primus is in here, then Arcadis is as well. Just need something to pressure that Planeswalker. So will this destroy Narcolepsy? Or we just...
Doesn't need to, right? We don't even care about that Vengevine at the moment.
Not really. I agree.
We can just sit here with Thrun and mind our business until Vivian makes things impossible for the opponent.
Yeah.
Brimaz notably not the strongest on this board.
No, unfortunately. Now you want to play Teferi to keep up with this Vivian.
And there it is. Okay, we have a game.
So I imagine we'll see... Oh, we'll just draw cards. Okay, cool.
One card still in hand for Wordwood here.
Yeah. Turn 9 Ogron Battlement is not as impressive as turn 2, and especially not when Throne is on the other side of the board.
That being said, it does protect your Teferi for one more turn. And Thrun can't really pressure the Teferi without Brimaz putting some pressure on the Vivian as well.
Exactly.
So now we race.
Yeah. Which
Teferi
placeholder is
having
better?
a little bit of the upper hand here because if things do go south, then Vivian can always go a couple cards deep.
Yeah, there's definitely an option to buy some time here.
And of course, Wordwood could always just draw that in Bolus's clutches, assuming it's in the deck.
I would very much assume it is in the deck. But
That's what I'm hoping to see out of this match. I would love to see a Planeswalker get control magicked.
yeah, we live for that. And I think that's honestly why Wordwood didn't immediately tuck Vivian, because there is the option that, all right, I'll find in Bolus's clutches and live my dream.
Vivian does continue to accrue value, does continue to make these Vengevines a threat to always come back with haste to pressure the Teferi in case there is any kind of board wipe. And of course, Elvish Clancaller, we've seen that just create some inevitability as well. So now Teferi is under a little bit of pressure here.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. I can't wait to see what Wordwood follows this up with. Remy's going all in order to pressure this Teferi. But now there's the option to sweep.
Start with a Wall of Omens. Plenty of mana to work with over here.
Yep. Yeah, this Wall of Omens was essentially half price because it makes Ogre Battlement tap for an extra green mana. Getting your 50% discount. Still choosing to draw with Teferi. Wordwood must have some plans here. This
We know
cannot
there
be.
are some Prismatic Strands in the deck that will protect his life total as well as Teferi.
Yep. We see this attack here.
Brimaz attacking. That does signal Sweeper to me.
Maybe.
Maybe. We have a... I mean, it's not... he's thinking about it again with Derogatory Speaker and Druida the Cowl threatening to block and take out the Brimaz. Llanowar easily blocking the token. It's just not the most exciting attack.
It's what we call mostly an aesthetical attack. Or aesthetic attack. It's just for show. Alright. Now it's time, Wordwood. Vivian is on 8. Are we tucking or are we clutching? I mean, there's also this whole turn on a combat step and stuff like that.
Sure. I suppose we can continue to play the game.
But we're all looking forward to see what happens with this Vivian right now, right next turn. There are some formalities that needs to be exchanged, some combat. Yes, throw in the last abyss. Makes Wall of Omens jump in front of it. Yep. Not even taking the summoning sick Wall of Omens. I mean, that's just schlubby play, right? Alright, Wordwood. You have us on the edge of our seat. Is this what you plan to do? Aww. I have never been more disappointed in my life.
As the control deck, you've got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. And now we sweep, but now Thrun can regenerate. That cannot have been intentional. And Vengevine gets rid of Narcolepsy and can come back next turn. This cannot be what we wanted to do. Alright, how many regeneration shields do you want?
Keeping in mind there are still ways for Teferi to fight through this.
Yeah, there's prismatic strands and all that, and I imagine we'll see a prismatic strand, but that cannot be ideal, can it?
It's not. It's not necessarily. You're losing value on that exchange, but
I imagine we drew Cleansing Nova for turn because there have been other options to get rid of to sweep while Regeneration Mana was not
yeah.
available for Throne.
And Remy can just sit here and sandbag creatures and keep bringing this Vengevine back for as long as they need to.
Yep. Okay, Teferi dies. Well, we see another sweeper, but Throne regenerates.
So this does temporarily take care of the Vengevine. Probably.
Yes. But now there's Vivian is back.
Can I get 2 Llanowar Elves?
That would surprise me very much. And then you run into the threat of the 4th Cleansing Nova. Because then it's an actual threat.
Well,
I imagine
you
Prismatic
would have to have
Strands.
Prismatic Strands and Cleansing Nova 4.
Yeah. Alright, Wordwood is admitting defeat and is out of this match. Of the tournament. It puts them at 2-1. Still very
live,
sweet for top 8.
still in a good position. But we have seen this green deck just continue to march inevitably forward.
Just to rip everyone apart.
We do still have some matches going on. We're going to join July Zerg and Flash Foe, both of whom we have seen battling earlier today. July Zerg attacking with Ink Moth Nexuses.
The Finches. Oh, what a board we came into here. There's constructs.
Those are big constructs. And a lot of them.
My. And Flash Foe is at 1. But there's a Lyra over there.
What's Lyra against 30 power worth of construct tokens, though?
Well, it's only 24 by now.
Until the Inkmoth Nexuses come back to life next turn. By the way, we're also sitting at 5 poison.
By the way, we just sacked our Lyra to Cabal Therapy, so I imagine this is, naming you are already dead. I think we came into the back end of this one, and July Zerg takes down the match. And that was our last match. We're already heading into round 4. Good. This format is quick. We've been at it for 2 hours, and we're already starting round 4.